Gold just realized its biggest yearly gain since 2010, and Wall Street says it's going even higher. Heading into 2025, JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs are both forecasting $3,000 an ounce gold. Investors betting on the 2016 Trump playbook are in for a shock. In 2016, our national debt was $18 trillion, and interest rates were zero. In 2025, our national debt has doubled to $36 trillion. Interest rates are 4.5%, and stock market valuations are at extreme highs. The Dow closed out 2024 with 10 down days in a row, something that hasn't happened since Jimmy Carter was president. The Wall Street Journal said gold will outperform stocks in 2025. Bank of America, Bloomberg, Goldman Sachs, and JP Morgan are all forecasting $3,000 an ounce gold and paltry returns for stocks. Call the proud Americans of the Patriot Gold Group today before it's too late. Mention the Still Report, and you'll always get best-in-class service from Patriots protecting Patriots. Patriot Gold Group has the no fee for life IRA, where your IRA or 401k can be in physical gold and silver, and you may be eligible for the no fee for life IRA on qualifying rollovers. Call 888-753-1647 for a free investor guide today. Patriot Gold Group is Consumer Affairs' top-rated gold IRA dealer 7 years in a row. Call 888-753-1647. Good evening. I'm still reporting on another con flare-up, this time in Indiana. Indiana, which already passed the Balanced Budget Amendment, and Convention of the States opened their 2025 session last Wednesday, they quickly scheduled a hearing for SJ21, a new term limits application, for tomorrow. With your help, there is still a chance of stopping it. U.S. Term Limits, USTL, has gotten more aggressive over the past year, likely due to their recent infusion of money. They gained traction in 2024 by increasing the number of states passing their applications from 6 to 9. It appears they may now be more of a force to reckon with than before. You'll find information for writing and calling Indiana senators and submitting written testimony in the Your Letter and 8 Short Phone Call sections that follow. Note: the hearing is tomorrow, and the deadline for written testimony is at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow. You'll also find suggested talking points for both letters and phone messages below. Please choose only one of each or write your own. If you can't make the deadlines, please send letters and make the calls anyway. They still can help. Talking points are at the end of the blast. Suggestions for phone messages. Ask the committee senators to vote no on SJ21. If you're a Republican or conservative, tell the Republicans so. Please choose just one or write something short yourself. Number 1, conventions can't be limited to the subject of the application. We could lose our Second Amendment or the entire Constitution at an Article 5 convention. Number 2, a poll which focuses on term limits while ignoring the risks of the Article 5 convention is irrelevant and not a true measure of public opinion on SJ21. Number 3, state legislators who vote for applications while thinking they are just scaring Congress into passing their own amendment are risking our Constitution. Number 4, no one can control the delegates to an Article 5 convention. Delegates would have more power than state legislatures and aren't subject to unfaithful delegate laws or the limited wording of the application. Number 5, with term limits legislation newly introduced in D.C., a resolution backing it makes far more sense than an application that could inadvertently lead to a runaway convention. Number 6, ratification by 3/4 of the states is not a safeguard. Delegates to the convention can change the ratification process and make it easier like they did in 1787. Number 7, Congress has never called a convention under Article 5. No one knows what will happen. Talking points for either party. Please choose just one or write your own message. U.S. Senator Ted Cruz has introduced a constitutional amendment for congressional term limits, already co-sponsored by Indiana's 2 U.S. senators. This eliminates the need for legislatures to risk a constitutional convention by applying to Congress for one. Instead, state legislatures should formally urge their congressional delegation to support Cruz's proposal with a congressional amendment already on the table. A resolution backing it makes far more sense than an application that could inadvertently lead to a runaway convention. Threatening Congress with Article 5 applications demolishes the new narrative suddenly embraced by U.S. term limits. They now assure legislators that there will never be a convention. They claim history proves that if Congress receives applications from enough states, Congress will propose the amendment themselves rather than call a convention. But history proves no such thing. State legislators who vote for applications while trusting that Congress will never call a convention are risking our Constitution. Article 5 convention proponents continually tell legislators that a huge percentage of their voters support their applications. That is, congressional term limits, according to polls that either don't mention or don't explain the dangers of an Article 5 convention. A poll which focuses on term limits while ignoring the risks of an Article 5 convention is irrelevant and not a true measure of public opinion on the application. State legislatures cannot dictate amendments to be considered at an Article 5 convention. Shows that lobbyists' assurances that a convention would be limited to considering only amendments requested by 34 state legislatures are false. Proposed congressional calls over the past few years prove that Congress may pool all state applications together, regardless of subject, to reach the 34 state threshold and trigger an unlimited convention. This contradicts what state legislators are being told to secure their votes on the applications. State legislatures have no power to select and control delegates, shows that those who promise that state legislators will select and control the delegates are making stuff up. Delegates have the self-evident right to alter or abolish our existing form of government, as expressed by the Declaration of Independence, second paragraph. So no one has power over delegates. The Brilliant Men shows that James Madison, Alexander Hamilton, 4 U.S. Supreme Court justices, and other jurists and scholars warned that delegates to an Article 5 convention can't be controlled. The Declaration of Independence shows why delegates to an Article 5 convention have the power to throw off the Constitution we have and set up a new one with a new and easier mode for ratification. James Madison, who was a delegate to the Federal Amendments Convention of 1787, invoked this principle as justification for the delegates ignoring their instructions and writing a new constitution with its own mode of ratification. For Republicans only, COS board members show that an Article 5 convention can result in a new constitution. Highlights the fact that Convention of States board member Robert P. George has already co-drafted a new constitution which grants massive powers to a new federal government and imposes gun control with red flag confiscations. It shows why an A5C, Article 5 Constitutional Convention, provides the opportunity under the pretext of seeking amendments to replace our Constitution and its ratification process. for Democrats only. In the risk of the right-wing push to rewrite the Constitution, celebrated historian James M. Banner Jr. raises the alarm about the push, mainly by a few billionaires, to trigger a convention under Article 5 of the U.S. Constitution. Quote, the greatest danger is that there's nothing in Article 5 that prevents an amendatory convention from following the example of the 1787 convention in Philadelphia, which became a runaway convention by simply assuming its freedom to propose a substitute for the very frame of the government, the Articles of Confederation under which it convened, if the proposals of an Article 5 convention succeed in setting one in motion, the extraordinary American experiment in the self-government of an open society that has endured for over 230 years will be in never-before-experienced peril. Or you might quote from Chief Justice Warren Burger's letter to Phyllis Schlafly, dated June 22, 1988. There is no effective way to limit or muzzle the actions of a constitutional convention. The convention could make its own rules and set its own agenda. After a convention is convened, it will be too late to stop the convention if we don't like its agenda. Have any questions? Contact Judy Caller at judycaller@hotmail.com. I'm still reporting from just outside the citadel of world freedom. Good day.